Okay, good evening, everybody. So I received a request during my last stream for me to do a voiced stream. So that's what I'm going to do today. I am not very good with this, frankly speaking. I don't really do much of so-called talking nowadays. I used to do a lot more, but now not so much. So if I have long period of pauses or long period of time when I'm not talking, so please forgive me for that. So today what we are doing basically is Final Fantasy VII Remake Wedge. So first things first, as always, is to download the file, which I already did. So it's right here. Okay. Then what I normally do is I will actually convert the documents using accent convert. I will convert them over to something that is visible. So in this case, I will use this setting so that you will see change them to PNG. So they will be, you can actually use them. You can see from the preview instead of mysterious number or mysterious textures. But in this case, I think there are missing texture files because I'm not seeing the matter files or the texture maps. So Wedge apparently isn't very popular. So not many people seems to have ported him over. So I would have to go to the games files perhaps to find the rest of the this one is a file. So it seems I need to go to the games files to find the missing textures. So let me see where do I put them. And he did not rename the files. Okay, so PN001. So should be this one. NP0, which is this one. So wait, I think yeah, sorry about that. MP01. And you can see the missing files, the files that the meta files, for example. So let me see. This is body C, which is this meta files. Normal maps is there. What is this? Seems to be a light map, which doesn't actually need. So I'm just gonna ignore that. And you got a hair matter, and nope, not required. Yeah, so these should be the files that is missing. Okay, so now we can continue on. Opening Blender. Okay, so by default for Blender, I have G8F or Genesis 8 female figure added in. But in this case, we will want to have the male figure. So I will delete away the female figure and then I will add in the male figure. So this is the preliminary steps, so to speak, just to see things like scale and positioning of the characters. Okay, which actually seems to be pretty accurate already. So I just need to move things a little bit using the, let me see, I keep forgetting to do this every time I stream. So yeah, so you can see down here the buttons that I'm currently pressing. So let me just close this and I close this. Okay, and move things a little bit. So now I'm scaling it down to fit the mouth, which is the easiest for me to do, because the reason for that is because you want the teeth to align properly. So having the mouth already applied makes it a lot easier when converting it back in after rep 3, right? So next, I will want to move things a little bit. So for example, the hands, I want them to match properly, and the feet as well. Before that, the feet, you will want to move the boots within the feet within the boots area, make it a little bit lower so that you can actually fit the feet into the boots. So otherwise, if it's in a position that it was just now, like right here, they will not actually, the feet will actually be sticking out of the boots. So that's not not very, you have to fix that later. So you might as well do that now, right? So next, let me just resize this so that it fits properly. So roughly like that. You don't have to be too accurate, but at the very least, the lips should match. So something like that. So you can see the Genesis 8 lips poking through the actual mesh that you're going to move them around. Okay, then next what I do is I will rename some of the files, because the reason for this, right, is I will actually mostly be repeating this a lot. If you want me to do this live every single time, I will be repeating a lot of this. Yeah. So anyway, the reason why is because you want to move them both at the same time. So for example, the posing, when you're going to pose the arm, if you move the arm down here, it's not moving on the other side. So if you put in the mirror, then it's supposed to move the other side, but it doesn't, because the naming convention, Blender doesn't know how to find the left and right side. So you need to rename them. This is the reason why I do that all the time. Okay. So selecting the bones here and the bones here, which is, which is this one. No, this one. This one. Yeah. So for XPS, they usually use a certain standard kind of naming, so you can roughly know where everything is. So I will select all the children and then I will replace. You will see I do this almost every single video. It's mainly because of this reasoning. Okay, so I replace the left and a space. So left and a space with nothing. And then I will add in the set. I'll set a name to the suffix, which is at the end of it. I'll put a space and left. So you will see the name change. I'm sorry, I forgot. Bones, right? So you edit the bones and you will see the left from the middle, they jump over to the end of it. So this is the result that you want to see, right? So just do the same on the other side. So left and left. Okay, and then you will change it to right with a space and then space right. Okay, so now that you have this, if you go back to the pose and then you try to move this part, because you have the mirror activated, you can actually move them both, right? But the mesh doesn't follow. I am not sure why, but you will need to go to edit mode with everything. And then since I'm here, I will do a merge by distance to get rid of all the extra vertices. Then when you go back and start to move bones around again, this time they will move. So you'll notice that they are actually moving now. So this is the reason why I do this every single time, right? So yeah. So now what I need to do is roughly match the positioning. Because I can have them mirrored, I don't need to be so particular about the actual numbers and positioning. Previously, because I don't have that, I have to be very careful so that I can match left and right. But now I don't have to. It's much easier on my end. I can do, on the fly, adjustment without the need to be too careful, right? So in this case, because Wedge isn't wearing gloves, as far as I can see, he's not wearing gloves, so I can leave the hands alone. Otherwise, I'll need to match the fingers roughly to a more accurate position. Okay, so the reason why I'm doing Wedge, right, basically ties in also to why I don't really do a lot of live streaming nowadays. One reason is because I actually became rather, how to put it, I'm not really able to stream one shot, the entire video in one shot, because my streams are getting longer, or rather the time I take to do the models are actually getting longer. Used to be I can actually do one model in, 1 hour, 1.5 hours. Now it's more like 4, 5, 6 hours, and I can't really stream them that kind of timing in one block anymore. So because of this, I don't really want to stream a lot, because it's not very nice to have to break up the stream into multiple parts. And sometimes when I try to stream, then it gets interrupted and I kind of feel bad. But you won't have things like stream for this model part 1 to part 5 or 6. So that's one of the reasons why I don't do a lot of live stream. So today I got a little bit more time. I have about 4 hours, give or take, and it's actually in the evening, so I am not expecting anything to interrupt me. So this is the reason why I'm doing a live stream. And as for Wedge, the main reason is because he is a rather chunky boy, and it's not something that you usually see in a model. So I want to show how I do this. Might not be a good idea, depending on how badly I screw this up. But we'll see how it goes. Okay, so this is the figure. So just now the one I deleted, just to let you know, is what they call the channel or in XPS. They have these numbers down here, which actually tells the program what kind of material that they use. So 27 is usually used for metallic or shiny things. So that's why you'll notice this part is all shiny. That's why I removed them. They are not actually necessary for my process, right? So then what I like to do at this point is to actually separate out all the parts. So for example, in this case, you have the clothing that's all in one bunch. And then you have the skin and the face and all that. So what I like to do at this point is to start to sort out all the different parts, so that later on it's easier to fix them, right? So now I will do a lot of renaming. So this is the hair. And the good thing about using the XPS model is that they actually sometimes do some part of the separating for you. Like if you convert the actual model from the game, the eyelashes, the eyebrow, and the actual hair is actually one model. They are all combined together. So because of this, you have to be a bit more careful when you try to remove them, right? Specifically for Final Fantasy VII Remake models, right? So sometimes XPS can actually save the time because they already done this step for you, separating out all the different parts. And sometimes they don't, like this outfit, so it's all still in one piece. So you have to separate them out manually or by itself, right? So separate the mesh and then rename them so that later you can save these different parts to thus as a separate piece. Bandana, correct. Okay, so this is the head. And this to our height. Okay, so this is the boots. So sometimes you'll see that parts are not selected. In this case, it might be a good idea to use the X-ray mode so you can select everything. Right, Control L is to select all the linked models or all the linked parts. So this is the outfit. Boots. Yeah. And occasionally it is useful to go to the textures. You might be able to, for example, in this case, you might be able to grab the textures. Like in this particular specific spot is all the grenade parts. So it might be easier to grab them this way. I honestly kind of want to just leave the rest of it in this piece like that. Because it seems like it's going to be very troublesome to move things around because of all the straps that's connected. For example, this belt is connected to this part here, and this one is connected to the belt. So I kind of just want to leave the entire piece, the entire outfit like this, and import them directly like that, right? Which actually might be easier. Yeah, because everything is all connected together. So I think I'll just leave it like that. So this is the suit. Okay, so or let's say outfit. Suit. Okay, so next, in this case, because it's a more, not so standard shape, as in he's fairly fat, to be honest. What I like to do is to put in the things that are necessary. For example, these parts down here, I will export this as a OBJ. Okay, and Wedge model, and I will open up Dust Studio. Yeah, saved. Okay, so I'll open up Dust Studio. So just checking. Can people hear me speak? Hear me speak. So seems like nobody is in the chat right now, so I will just continue speaking. So if anybody cannot hear me speak, then they will sound out, and hopefully I can fix something. The reason why I'm asking is because the stream apparently has an audio stream rate of 0, which is not what I want to see. But so anyway, I will import the model which I saved just now, which is this one, right? And then I will import. I will put in the Genesis 8 figure, which is I actually put a custom action here so that I can just press it. Instead of having running all over the place in the menu to find it. But I might have pressed the wrong one. Maybe. Yep, I pressed the wrong one. Okay, so what you want is actually the male, not the female. My bad. Okay, so just wait for him to load, and then I will use a sculpt. What do you call it? Morphs to give him a preliminary shape I can work with. So in this case, you want him heavy. So yep, too heavy. Okay, so move this back down a little bit. Something like this, I think. So we're looking at 70 here, or maybe stocky. 40. If this is 0, 40 might be better. Yeah, so stocky. No. Okay, so something like this, I will fix the how to put it. I'll fix it later after the head is wrapped. Okay, so I will remove this and remove all of this and then base resolution, and export this. I think I should check just in case. Check just in case. Okay, so it seems my voice is coming through just fine. Thank God. Okay, so where am I? Oh yeah, so now I will save this file down here. Genesis 8mm to my rep tree. Okay, so default settings. And in Blender, I will leave this arms parts as well as the head. Where is the head? Like so. I might actually, just give me a moment, let me see. Can I? Let me duplicate this. And outfit, skin. Let's see if I can actually do something with this. So nah, better not. Okay, so just all of this, I will export this out as a rep tree and wedge. Okay, and then I will delete off this. Where's my outfit, skin, delete. Okay, so now to rep tree. And I seem to be progressing a little bit faster than I normally would. That is nice to know. Okay, so male full. So this is my preset that I use when I have to wrap a full model. By full model, I mean, you can see the arms or the legs, things like that, like similar to what Wedge has here right now. So I will put in the skin, which is this one here. So this is the skin. Actually I should put the head first so that I can see what I'm doing. I'll show you what I did after this. So this is the head section. So I will save the head, and this is the geometry, which is wedge. Okay, so I am not sure whether you need me to explain all of this, which is actually, I think I did that in the previous stream. So if anybody wants me to explain this again, I can do so. Yeah, so either in this particular stream, or I'm not going to do that right now because nobody's in the chat anyway. But in the future, if I see any comments asking me for explanation of all these notes, then I will do another video when I do the next live stream, assuming this one that in which I'm speaking is well received, then I will do another one and explain all that. If not, I might, if people don't want me to be doing a voice live stream, then I can do a special video just covering this particular notes. I don't know. I will leave that to you guys and let me know. Okay, so next I will do a bit of points. Okay, so previously I mentioned the reason why I wanted to. Okay, let me clear everything so I can. So this is the reason why I wanted to use the head first, because now you have the correct texture for the body, but the head is a mess, and it's not so easy to see where everything is. Though actually this one is not so bad because the polygons is actually quite high. But if you have something that is like a mobile game model or things like that, then yeah, you will need to. It is easier for you to just do it this way, where you put the head first so that you can see where all the points are supposed to go. And then later on, when you do the actual transfer of the textures, you put in the body textures, right? So now I'm just roughly putting in the points. Like so, and like so. Nose. And the bottom of the nose. I am not sure which part of this is actually necessary because this is a general points that I've been using since I started using wrap. So I'm not sure which one is actually necessary, which one is not, but generally this will serve you fairly well. But when you're doing your own project, you can adjust them to fit the needs of your model that you are converting, right? So points around the mouth. Then the two, I'm not sure what they call them, the peak of the lips down here. And generally, you do not need the following 4 points. Though I found that it is useful for, like, for example, if the mouth is very big or very small, like if you're dealing with Dragon Ball models, for example, then it is useful to have these here. So it's kind of a habit for me now. But if you're doing a realistic live figure, like in this case, you don't actually need these points. So just to let you know. Okay. But no harm doing that also. You can have a lot of points and the calculation is actually fast enough, or maybe my computer is powerful enough that it doesn't really matter on the part of the calculation. They will still take roughly the same time. Because I actually tried calculating, like maybe say 100 points, and it maybe takes an additional maybe half a minute or 1 minute. So not really a lot of time saved, even if you have lesser points. So from that, the conclusion is the more points, the more accurate. So put more points, no harm done, so to speak. Okay, so I am dumping points to the ears, so roughly around there. And the whole chest area is not really necessary, and in fact most of the leg area is not necessary also. You'll be blocking out most of those anyway. So basically that is about, let me see, I should put the points of the finger. This is done solely for texturing purposes, texture transfer purposes. You won't be using the morph on the hands part because I will be rewriting the morphs to normal, the normal Genesis hands. The reason for that is due to posing reasons, because previously I was doing Overwatch model, specifically the Mercy series. That is, if I'm not wrong, it's about 2020 around there. And I convert them exactly. But when I port over to Dust Studio, right, it's hard to pose with the fingers and the hands because the positioning, the initial positioning is all wrong already, right? So because of this, the poses, basically what the pose does is that they put in a value. Say, for example, you have a finger, you bend a finger. What the pose is actually telling the model to do is to move the bones a certain degree in the x-axis, a certain degree in the y-axis, etc., etc. So what happens if your initial posing location is way out of whack? So, for example, if your initial pose of the thumb is pointing directly downwards instead of along the palm as the normal does, then the numbers that was given to the pose will be completely off. So because of this, right, generally I try to keep the feet and the hands the same. Some slight minor adjustments should be fine, but not those kind of crazy pose that some game models like to use. So that is for the reason of posing, right? So yeah, I should put in the other model, which is this. Okay, so you can roughly see that that is where the model will go, and the parts that you need to block out to tell the not to use those parts, right? So that's what I'll be doing here. So roughly here to, I don't know, here. Something like that. Okay, so I'll remove the neck section and the face. Where's the face? No, I should remove the face from here, because otherwise you'll remove the nostrils and the ears and all that, and they'll make things more troublesome. So I should also remove the neck. I'm sorry, remove the neck. Okay, so to here, which is here. Like so. Okay, then check the legs. So something like that. And oops, did I miss out anything? Yep, I missed out something. 32, that's 28. There we go. Okay, so I will wrap this and we'll see what's the final results. Hopefully it's be something that I can use. I forgot to change the body texture that I mentioned just now. Happens all the time. So there we go. So you just need to wait for a while for it to run again, which is down here, the texture projection. You can see it run. Okay, so it should do it. And things seems to be going well. So next will be here, which is the parts that you want to replace. So I want to replace the hands. As well as the parts that were not used, just in case. So I can temporarily disconnect this first so as to not let it run all the time. Okay, so something like this. Okay, so something like that. Then I will connect it back to the replace node and save out. Then I can also save out all the skin textures. Okay, then next is the normal maps. Oh, oops, did I press something? Okay, so normal maps. But today I'm still amazed that so many people want to see me do all these steps because it's actually very, very routine, very, very boring, at least on my end. But you guys seem to love it so much. I don't understand. Yeah, before that, let me check. Yep, big mistake. Wait, I forgot to do that. Right, thank you. So yeah, just now I actually tested with the video self. So seems like my mic is actually working for once. There are a couple of streams in the past where my mic just goes haywire, and I'm not exactly sure what is the problem, but they seems to be working properly today, so that's good. And welcome to the chat. You're the first one around. Okay, so next will be to go back to Blender and import in the model that was just generated, which is right here. So I like to keep these two here. In order to retain the poly count, the poly select. It's not actually very necessary on the Genesis model itself, but it will be very necessary if you plan to use any of those what do you call it? The select maps for moving the. Now I'll show you what I mean later. Select maps that you can actually use to transfer rigging easier. Okay, so I have this here, and it doesn't look too bad already. More or less, I think I can use it straight away. So next is to put in the outfit and make sure that the parts doesn't protrude out like here. Okay, so you can see that the Genesis model is generally they have a they are more prone to forward, as in how do I explain this? they are more leaning forward. So most of the game models and anime models and such, they are actually more straight back. So thus the Genesis figures, they actually have this natural curve on your spine, which anime figure doesn't have. So usually you need to move this around. So yeah, that's what I need to do. Okay, then I need to move this slightly wider. So just move the vertices around until you get something that kind of fits the outfit. But you don't need it to be completely fitting unless the outfit is very tight and you can see where things are going. Otherwise, it's not really necessary to fit them so precisely. So let me see. Does the shirt actually exist inside? We just get rid of this. And it seems it does. So what I can do is I can duplicate a copy and put it out here. And I can use this as the basis for moving stuff around. Okay, so this part is basically a lot of adjusting and smoothing and moving vertices around. So it's not the most riveting thing, but it's a necessary process anyway. If you want to have a proper, or not say proper, but at least a decent looking body underneath the outfit that you just converted over, right? So just slowly move vertices around until things start to look okay. Things start to fit properly, so to speak. The one thing that you need to pay attention to when you're doing this kind of moving things around is the armpit. That is the part that usually screws up your process. So you need to make sure that you don't ever see this. So you will need to move them at least until the at the very least for the so that it doesn't stick into each other. So make sure that it doesn't do that, because if not, later on when you try to fit your outfit to the if you want to fit your clothing to this mesh, it's gonna be very messy. So you need to make sure that your armpit area, at least you cannot have this kind of poke through. They must be how to put it, completely separated, right? So something like this, then you need to work around with this kind, at this roughly around this kind of area. Okay, so you can also do a subdivision at this point. Just so, because the reason for this, right, is because Dust Studio actually, the Genesis models that are put inside, they are actually subdivided already. So generally they have a subdivide of 2. So that is by default. So do a subdivision here to replicate that condition so that you can more accurately make sure that everything fits properly. Okay, so something like that. I am not very well versed in how a fat guy is supposed to how the armpit area of a fat guy is supposed to look like, and I honestly don't really want to go and research this. So this will be generally roughly what the maximum that I will go, right? So just a little bit more definition here and there makes things a little bit prettier. And if you see something like this, that is to say your alignment is out, then smoothing it out a little bit would be a good idea. Especially the belly button, you do need to check the belly button as well, because because of the way if you use mirror, that is to say this topology mirror, then you do need to make sure that the belly button area doesn't screw up as well. So yeah, so these are the parts that you need to check. Then this back line right here, the spine, they should have a slight indentation, as well as some kind of like a triangular shape down here. I'm not sure if it's really like, male and female both have this, but generally this is what I see among the female parts. So and also because all the fat area, so you do need to smoothen them out a little bit. but I won't pretend to be a expert in this particular part. I don't generally convert overweight characters. Very, very seldom. I mean, I only have like, I don't know, 3 or 4 of them compared to all the rest of the generally in shaped characters. So yeah, these are about all the advice I can give. So this is roughly how I go about it, and use the shirt and the clothing to fit them in, like so. Okay, so just make sure the protruding parts are all fitted in, and then yeah, looks okay to me. Maybe move this a little bit. Yeah, so with this, the body is done. As a matter of fact, it is really going much faster than I expected it to go. Perhaps because when I'm doing a live stream, I am not distracted so much. There's the problem also. So we need to move the fit the leggings. So let me just close the suit and smoothen out the leggings here a little bit. So we need to close it a little bit here and move it in a little bit here. Basically, the idea is to use the shirt or the outfit of the character as a guide to create the body underneath it. Right? So if you are confident with your sculpting, you can do so. But I am not very good at it, to be honest. So what I prefer to do at this point is actually to go into edit mode and move vertices around. At least I can see clearer the parts that I'm moving around. So it doesn't, I don't go too haywire over it. Right? So something like that. So make sure that it doesn't protrude too much in, and also make sure that it's not too flat, as in too inside. How do I put it? Like, for example, if you have something like this, then you don't want that to happen, so you adjust them out a little bit. So generally you want them to fit properly, but something that I took a while to how to put it, to get into the habit of also, is to make sure that you don't emphasize too much on the proper fitting, unless the outfit is like skin tight, right? So otherwise, if not, it is best to give it a little bit of space here and there. Like for example, for this particular shirt, it is not a skin tight shirt, so you will notice that I actually have gaps here and gaps here, as well as up here. So it's not like completely filled up to the top, completely flush against the outfit, because it's a shirt. It's a t-shirt. It's not a skin tight suit, right? So this is something that you do need to watch out for, because it is relatively tempting to just make everything flush. Though the one part that is an exception is actually the collar area of the shirt. Just you do need to make sure that the collar area is the body is up to the parts where the collar is. Though in this case you can actually use the head, which is where's my head? The head, to double check to make sure that your morph is correct. So for example, in this case, the head actually comes to here, so you can relax a little bit on your morph. So something like this. So it doesn't need to go so high, so long as you can match roughly what the original model is about there, right? So just move this slightly in a little bit and slightly in. Okay, so this is somewhat easier compared to most other realistic, is because the character is actually symmetrical. It is not something that you will see very often if you're dealing with like realistic models. Usually it's asymmetrical. Then if that's the case, you need to adjust the body separately from the head, especially. Okay, so in this case, I made the outfit of made the body roughly. It should be pretty good. And yep, so this is basically how to shape the body. One way to do it anyway. Oh, sorry, I got a chat. Head morph process. Rep placing point. Do you know where to get the video material for this process? This is a rep placing point. You mean this part here? The select point pair. I do have a tutorial on that, but to be honest, it is more or less like a trial and error kind of thing. So how I learned initially is going through the Rep3 tutorial, and then what happens is that I basically just put in the points, like for example the prominent points, the eyes, the nose, the mouth, and the ears, and then run the rep. Like for example, if it's just the head that you're concerned with, so you just run the rep on the head alone, right? Then ignore the rest of the body. Then what happens is that if anything goes haywire, or if anything, if they need another point somewhere to make sure that it simulates more properly, then they will tell you, because you will see, you know, for example, if you don't have the points in the ears, and then your ears will just go flat. Like for example, if your ear, the model of your ear is like maybe say a elf ear, for example, is a sharp ear here, and you don't have points here, then when you run the simulation, you look at, hey, there's something wrong with the ear, because it goes it's kind of stuck down here and it's flat down here because there isn't a point for the ear point. Then you just add in the ear and run the simulation again until you get the shape that you want, right? Though due to polygon limitations, sometimes this might not work also. For example, if you want to do an Asari head, so just to show you what I mean, this is the reason why I had a lot of problems with Asari. I'm not sure if it's pronounced correctly, but hopefully that's the case. You know, the Mass Effect ones, the ones with the pointy head. For example, this lady. Oh, Odie. Yeah, I actually don't have a morph for those. Never mind. I can show you why anyway. So if you have this particular kind of head shape, then it is almost impossible to do a proper morph of this head shape, being because you just don't have enough polygons to do so, right? So because of this, when I'm doing this head, I actually do need to do a georep with the actual game mesh in order to do this properly. But otherwise, it is quite impossible to wrap the model. So I'm not sure whether it's useful for you. I'm just rambling, honestly. But basically, you just want to, you know, put the points where you see major facial features or major body features. Like for example, the hands, you want fingertips. But if you're doing something like the Hulk, then you need to have a lot more points. I'm actually not sure whether I have a Hulk save or not. I actually did one. I can show you what I mean. And also, sorry, not OBS, Rep3. Load project. Oh, there we go. The Hulk. Then I would actually need... I don't have the actual model, sorry. That's to say the Hulk model. But I actually need this many points on all the hands and the feet, you know, roughly around 113 at least points just to get the hog to show up properly. So that's the kind of things that I'm talking about. When you after you simulate, you see something doesn't look right, and then you put another point out there so that the program knows where to go. So that's the general flow you want to go about. Okay, so back to this particular project, I have the body and I have all the parts ready to go. So what I will do now is I will export this body. Before that, two things you need to check is the mouth. Even though you already fitted the mouth to the lips before that, just in case. So you double check, make sure that, oh dear, why is it keep running around? Make sure that the I'm not sure what's going on with my make sure that the mouth is in the right position and the eyes also. So in this case, the eyes is not exactly in the correct position. So I will need to move them down. And for eyes, you don't use topology mirror. It will screw up the thing. Okay, so if you use topology mirror, then you'll get this. Okay, so don't use topology mirror for eyes. Then just move them roughly into position. Okay, so something like that. Then I will save out this this figure. I am kind of surprised. This is really going very, very quickly for me. I mean, when I did bakes yesterday, it took me a heck of a lot longer to reach this point for some reason. Or maybe because it is much easier to focus when I'm actually, doing a live stream where I can screw up quite badly if I don't make sure that I'm doing the correct things, or rather that I'm actually working and not getting distracted by YouTube or something. So it might be a good idea for me to do this more often. I don't know. More. Right. Okay, so wedge full morph and then export. Okay, so hide this. In this case, because the hair doesn't exist without the bandana, so we do need to have both together. So for the hair, as far as I know, Wedge doesn't have a model that has when he's not wearing the bandana, right? I might have to check all his models. I think there are 5 or 6 of them in the game. Wedge hair. But if I can find a hair that doesn't have a model, then I will do an updated version, or I will update the hair later on. Okay, so before I forget, hair is a little bit of a different problem. Okay, so what I normally do is I did a copy of the entire model, and then now what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove everything that is not part of the hair. I'm going to hide this as well. Okay, and then I am going to go to this part and remove all the bones that is not part of it, as well as all the hidden bones. And what I'm doing now basically is to import the rigging into dust. So this is part I don't need. this part I don't need either. So just the hair. Okay, so just the hair and the bandana ribbon. Okay. And I don't need this either. And then I will change case. This is just my OCD talking. It looks much nicer this way for the bones name. Okay, so this part you do need to have the MMD plugin for Dust Studio. So if you don't have it, this will not be very useful for you. I will show you an alternative way when do the clothing, right? You can apply that basically to any model that has what they call it. Sorry. Vertex group. So you can apply that method to any model that has a vertex group, or you can create your own vertex group and then use that for the model, right? So now, in my case, what I'm doing now is because I have the MMD plugin, so I'm going to use that to import the hair with all the rigging and bones directly. Okay, so Wedge hair. Okay, so I'll just hide this and I'll hide this. And then I will export all the parts. In the boots. Okay, so let me see. Actually, since I already have the rigging, it would be much easier for me to just do the rigging directly. So yeah, I should do it this way. Sorry, I will show the other method in the future if I have a chance to convert a model on stream that doesn't have proper rigging. Then I can show you how to do a conversion over that way. Yeah. So in this case, I am currently removing everything that isn't necessary. Okay, so things like the this part down here. Like for example, this part necessary. So because it is actually controlling the pouch, and this one controlling the grenades, so I will keep them. The parts that are not necessary, I will kind of discard them. Oh dear, something is wrong. So something like that. Then I will do the same thing, convert them to MMD and export this out. What I can show you is how to use the figure setup to the rig transfer to transfer a already rigged outfit. Like in this case, you want the grenades and all that to keep the rigging. I can show you how to do that at least. Okay, so let me put in the Genesis 8. Okay, so I'm going to enter the morphs first. So we have a head morph. Okay, so the reason why I need to put in the name as such is because for DAS, right, you cannot have the same name. So I learned that, or rather I was reminded of that when I did Rogue. So I had two Rogue. One is the Fortnite Rogue and another one is the Deadpool game Rogue, which if you recall, it's just a few weeks ago that I converted those. So what happened is that because they are both Rogue, the Deadpool Rogue morphs actually override the Fortnite Rogue. So you need to add something into the name in order to differentiate the two morphs. So in this case, I don't have another Wedge, but this is just in case kind of thing in the future if something happens. So I am including all this right now. So this is just to let you know something. Property groups, I need to change it to Final Fantasy Remake and have 7 Wedge. Okay, and done. Okay, so next I will use this one, Shape Rigger Plus, in order to transfer or rather to make the shape fit properly. So Wedge, okay, Standard Rigger Plus, I need to like these two, and then they will actually detect them here, and I can do the rigging adjustment from a relatively thin person to a plumber person. Okay, so next will be this, saving the rig, and save. Then what I like to do is I like to set this to 0 so that the default is 0, and then when you move the morph, it becomes 100. So 100 to 0. Right, so optional step, but something I like to do. Okay, so this is the morph, and then at this point I would do the textures, but I think right now I'll just show you how I do the outfit and all that first. Then I'll leave the textures later. Okay, so I will import all of this, leggings, and the 2 suit. So this is the PM suit. Oh dear, I forgot about that. One thing about MMD is that if you do any modifications to the skeleton, in this case, like from this pose to this pose, you need to apply them. So I forgot about that. So that one I'll be using the cat plugin. Then they have this pose mode which I will use. So start pose. Pressing this one, right, is actually to keep the pose, and then I will apply that as a rest pose. Okay, so in this case, after you press the enter, it doesn't go back to the normal anymore. So that is what you need. Then I will export it as a XPM again, and import them as a suit. Okay, so now it's fitting, and import your suit. And the reason why I need to do this, I'm not sure if I explained it before, but MMD, right, when you export as MMD, what happens is that they actually move according to your UV. So they will actually cut up the mesh according to your UV. So for example, you have a shirt mesh, right? They will actually chop up this part down here, this line here, and this line here. They will actually chop up into this line here. So if you go back to Dust Studio and I hide this outfit, and if you see down here, you can actually see the line here where the mesh is actually separated out. So you need to have another OBJ which doesn't have this problem. Then you do a transfer. Similar to the tutorial that I did for the eyelashes, right? How you go about it is you use these and then use the near vertices at 100%, not 150. 150 means you have a bit of a tolerance which you don't want because you want them to be as exact as possible in my case, right? So this is the setting that I use for transferring over the rigging from the MD to the OBJ. Okay, so it might have some problems, but we can fix that later. So now, oh dear, way too many. What is this? The hidden, I forgot about this. Delete. My bad. Okay, so back again to this and this, and then transfer the rigging over from the MMD to the OJ again. 0 and 0. Okay, and there we go. Okay, so this is the important part now. Wait a minute, let me align bones. Okay, so this is the important part now. You have a whole bunch of like these oh dear. Yeah, so this is the part I don't like. Yep, so it's a lot of back and forth, if you notice, because I keep forgetting things. Okay, so import, and convert. Okay, so align. So now we have this this part down here. You can see the grenade and all that. You can move them around. Oops, sorry. These parts I do need to unhide them. Okay, so grenade and grenade. I need to unhide this. Unhide so that you can move them around. Okay, so you can move them around like so. Then for the pouches, you don't want to move them around. You just want to rotate them. In that case, this is perfectly fine. So you don't need them to move around like that. So you can just leave it like that. And this part down here, yeah, don't need them to move around either. Okay, so this is the moving. Okay, so next is I will want to save a copy of this suit. Save. You will overwrite this later, so this is just a temporary save. And outfit, Wedge outfit. Outfit suit. Okay, so but no reason not to save them to the correct position. So Fantasy, FF7, Remake, and Wedge. Outfit. Wedge outfit. Okay, so this is the positioning in your data file. That this is where you keep them. Attachment and body. Okay, so this part next. Any parts that you want to keep the rigging. So in this case, for example, the grenade. Here, make sure to hide it. Then, for example, the pouch. Arm pads, most of the pads you want to keep. Okay, so something like this. Then you will want to transfer the suit current, just in case. Same thing. Okay. And then make sure that weight maps you respect hidden and merge hierarchies. So this is the magic to convert over the rigging from the Genesis 8 to the outfit, right? And you want to, in this case, you want to parent and fit as well as reverse source so that the shape will actually fit this morph. Okay, then you press accept, let it run. Okay, then after running, this is what will happen. You have all your riggings over, but unfortunately, it will not actually how to put it, your selection. Hold on, just give me a minute. Your bones are still working. It's just that the selection isn't there. Oh dear. Outfit, suit. Okay, so your selection isn't working. So that means to say you can still move the grenade around. For example, if you go to the bones and select the bones, and you can still move it around, but you just can't select it directly, right? So 2 ways to go about it. One is they can restore everything manually. That means to say you go and reselect the grenades here and reapply them. So that is one way to go about it. Alternatively, you can load in the outfit that you saved. So Final Fantasy 7 Remake, and that's the outfit. Right, so I load this in. Doing funny things. I'm sorry. Okay, so I think that is it. Then you can transfer from this back to this. So same process, except that this time you remove the weight map because you don't want to transfer the weight maps over. And all this, leave it alone. So just this 3 section here and not these 2. That means this is the setting, and accept. Okay, then you can remove this, and now you have the selection again. Yeah, so that is basically how you go about it. Then you will want to move all the previous riggings over to the new ones. Like, say for example, the grenade, you don't want them to be here in the root, you want them to be here instead. So what you need to do is to actually check. This is the pelvis area, so you want to save first in case things go wrong. As always, this part is a little bit on the dangerous side, to be honest. Okay, then you will want to do a reparenting. So reparent this to the hips, to the pelvis, for example. Okay, so in the end, this here you want to actually delete off, so that it's a cleaner mesh, also a cleaner aperture. Okay, so obvious, and then this is the grenade, also the same thing. So it's a bit more cleaning up, but you can actually convert or move things over that previously it's not possible. So it's much easier, rather than you have to redo all the conversion and all the what do you call that? All these parts here. Okay, so let me see. Okay, so roughly something like this. Then what you want to do is to remove all these bones. Okay, but you cannot remove them all separately, so you can only do so one at a time. I'm not sure why it doesn't have a mass bone remover kind of function. It's a pain. Okay, so after this is done, you see whether I've actually done it correctly, or if you have to redo the entire thing again. Which, to be fair, is it's not impossible. Yeah, I have to redo it. Okay, so let's see. I can still move this. Yep. So far so good. Seems to be working as expected. And this part. Okay, so next is to make sure that all the rigging is correct. So, sorry, all the weight maps. So you have this, for example. You need to smooth out this part here. So say for example, you move this, and you need to make sure that this part is smoothened. Okay, so that is basically the short form of how to actually do a conversion over directly like that, and maintain all the rigging and selection that you're supposed to have. Okay, so yep, everything is more or less correct. Next is to fix the biggest pain in the ass, which is the armpit. Which is the reason why I say the armpit is a problem, has always been, is because of this right here. And I am very, very, very much not a fan of the way that DAS has this setup. So and this is the reason why you want it to be, you want the you don't want to have any problems like I mentioned just now during the armpit area, where if you have the outfit and the skin bunch up, any bunch up down here, then you run into problems when you try to do this part here. That is to say, when you try to move these things here. And I think we have problems anyway. Let me see. Okay, so the easiest way that I know of to solve this problem, I think there is a problem here. Let me... Yep, right here. Doesn't seem to have a... It's not really a big issue. Not sure why. Oh, maybe this one. Yeah, this is a problem. Right here. So you can see that this part here is actually clipping. So that's not what you want to see. And it's a pain because I have to redo what I did just now. More or less. Wait, not necessary. Wait, let me see. I think I can actually transfer the progress over. Okay, so wish me luck. This will be a pain. If it doesn't work, then it will be a huge pain. Yep, it's a problem. I don't know what I was expecting. Oh well, let's see what we can do with this, what we can work with this first. I don't want to have to redo the entire thing if I can possibly help it. Okay, so how I usually deal with the armpit problem is to use the deforce. So let me run this through deforce first and we see what happens. Okay, so what I'm doing now is that I'm actually painting the influence weight on all the affected areas. I'm sorry. On all the affected areas, so that the deforce can actually work on it. And hopefully I don't have to redo this entire thing again. All right. Okay, so what I'm doing now is that I'm basically fixing the rigging. Okay, so it seems that it's working. Thank God. Seriously. I really, if I can help it, I really don't want to redo the entire thing again. It's a huge pain in the rear to have to, if I have to redo that. So next is the texturing. So a trick I learned, I'm not sure if I actually shown it anywhere. I mean, I've done that in the model in the other live streams, but I don't think I actually explained that before. I am not certain. So just give me a moment. Final Fantasy 7 Remake, Wedge, and textures. Okay, so I'll transfer this over. That's the light map. This is the normal map. And that's the spectacular map. And this is the metal map. Actually, I should throw it here first before putting it. Okay, so what happens with the metal map is that it's basically the different channel, the different color channels actually means different things. So if in this case, the metal map, you have the red channel, which is the metallic parts, which you can actually tell very easily by, if you can look down here, the texture parts there's all metallic, and the words here and these parts here, they are all showing up here. So this is the metal map. Basically, it tells the model which part is metallic. Then you have the green channel, which I'm not sure why is it right now. Just give me a moment. And the blue channel, which is nothing. Alpha, nothing also. Okay, so you just have these two channels. So if I'm not wrong, this is the rough map. So you can see the details here, either the bump map or the rough map. But I'm using this as, I think both can be used if I'm not wrong. So what happens is that this method is you select the items, then you have all these channels here, and then you can just go to the textures and start slotting them in like that. I mean, be a bit more accurate than me. Okay, so you got a base color, which you can see, and then you have the metallic, and you have this rough map, normal map, and spectacular, which is cross layer weight. Okay, then you check. The color is off. And so if the color is off, that usually means formatting problem. Which means I need to go back to where's my original wedge? Okay. Final Fantasy in content and textures. There we go. So the color is more accurate, this one. So let me delete all of this, and let me see if after I convert this over to JPEG, whether it will still have the same issue. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. Not sure why. Okay, so yeah. So in this particular case, you need to keep it in JPEG instead of sorry, you need to keep it in PNG instead of JPEG. And the reason why I usually want to keep it as JPEG if possible is if you notice that PNG is actually 4.35 MB, while JPEG is actually just 520 KB. So it is much, much smaller in file size. But in this particular case, no choice. Basically, Let me see if I save it from using GIMP, will it actually be better? I'm not sure why sometimes the color is like that. I have no idea. It doesn't seem to be any like consistency, because if sometimes I use the uh, sometimes like the same one, for example, if I'm using the bakes yesterday, I don't have this problem, but Wedge has this problem, so I'm not sure why. Maybe it's the extractor, the problem with the extraction. Miss confirm. So it's a PNG issue. So I'm not sure why this is the case, but no choice in this case. I have to leave it as a PNG. Okay, the rest of the file actually, the rest of the maps are actually working properly. So thank God that. Copy and paste. So I have all the outfit properly done. Okay, so for the shirt, that is done, then the rest is actually fairly straightforward. So I just need to transfer, for example, the boots, transfer the rigging directly, and then the legging is even easier. So no problems whatsoever. For the boots, you might want to check if there is any problems. For example, in this case, you have this metal plate that is in front of the boots down here. So you want to check whether it's actually placed properly. So let me just fix this and this first. Okay, so if you move your foot, then you see there's a little slight distortion. So this is something that you can actually fix fairly quickly. So before that, symmetric, just in case. I think this is symmetrical. I'm not sure. So let me test this out. Foot. Yeah, it's symmetrical. So okay, so something like that. And you have this hole in the boot, so you need to adjust that as well, which I can do so much easier here. Done. Okay, so next is to save out the outfit. So save them individually first. This is for the display picture. So save outfit. Okay, then delete this, and I'll delete all of this, and I will start to import. So I should do the textures first. Okay, so output. Okay, so what I'm doing now is I actually search for the texture map that I think most closely fits the figure that I'm going for. So in this case, I actually found one of the product that has the kind of figure that suits this character, and then I try to fit the textures. So in this case, I'm doing the editing for the textures right now. So this is the actual the part, the head and the neck area, and I'm cleaning up the model of any stray bits of texture. Okay. Then now I'm selecting just the parts, so you can actually see, the parts that needs more cleaning. So that's what I do. And then select again. Okay. So after that, I will shrink the selection by 10 pixels. And then this is the full map. And I add an alpha channel and delete the not wanted parts. So this one I can also delete. And the reason for doing this, right, is because if not, you will actually have a line down. For example, if you don't do what I just did, then when you look at the model, you will see that there's a line at the back of the neck, which is here. At the back of the neck, you will see that the texture does not align properly. So what this does, the 10 pixel, is actually to have an overlap of the textures so that they blend in more smoothly. Okay, so this is the reason. And then now what I'm going to do is I'm going to get rid of this black part because I want to put in the color. Okay, and then I will select the color from the skin itself, which is this color, and I will paste it here. Okay, so in this case, if you later when you do the smoothing or what they call it, blending of colors, you won't have to worry about the black color background messing up your colors blending. Okay, so next I will match the color from this part, which is the actual character color, and this part, which is the one that you selected. Okay, so color curve. Generally, this is the one that I use the most often. There are a few other tricks that can be used depending on the base texture, but most of the time this should suffice, especially since the color isn't that far off. Okay, so I will just adjust the curve to fit the numbers. So in this case, what you're doing is you're matching this number to this you're matching this number to this number. So 44, right? And then blue to 112, and this is about that. Okay. Then what I will do is I will mirror symmetric this item, and I will actually cut off a little bit of this part. Say just a little bit. Okay, then I will merge this and start to blend the color together even more. So then try to get rid of all the major, the big blemish you can see, unless it actually fits in with your outfit. This one is slightly too realistic, to be honest, this particular skin. But it should suffice for our purposes. You just don't want it to be too obvious that this is a real skin, because this is actually animated what do you call it, animate skin, so it shouldn't be so colorful, to be honest. Yeah, so something like that, and I will see it as a wedge skin also. And then I will rerun the color, that is to say the curve, for the arms and the legs. And then I will stick this one and here, and basically do the same thing. Like so. Okay, and then same thing, copy, string selection, at alpha, delete off, delete this. This one I don't actually need it. Maybe I should have chosen a base that is a little bit hairier. But oh well. Hopefully this will work out as well. Okay, so this should do it for the textures. I think you just need to fit them all together and see how they all match up first. Then I will do the normal maps. Normal maps. At least the normal maps are much easier to deal with because you can actually do overlay and save. Still need a bit more cleaning up here. Okay, so what I just did is basically I transferred the Blender over to my tablet so that I can use my tablet pen to brush to do the texturing, which will make it's much easier that way. And I pressed the wrong button. Okay, so that's about the best I can make it. I am not. Excuse me. I am not very good with texturing, so that's about the best I can make it. Uh, yeah. So I just need to do the rest of the hair and all that. Yeah, almost done. Almost done. Just need to. I think. Yeah, I think I'm more or less finished already. I just need to save the uh, texture for the outfit and then post it and render, and that's about it. Yeah. So today I seems to have done it quite quickly. 3 hours. Okay, so I am basically, excuse me, I'm basically done with this model. So I'm just going to render it and upload. Thanks for watching. So I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.